let's get into some of the best suburbs or cheapest suburbs worth buying in Wollongong. I'm going to start with the low end. So this is $750,000 to $1 million. And the suburb is Port Kembla. Look, Port Kembla does have a very industrial past, and a lot of people in Wollongong do have a little bit, I'd say, of a stigma against it, simply because it was one of the first suburbs where I'd say, a lot of your there is pockets of public housing, number one. Then secondly, a lot of you people who actually worked in the famous steelworks of Illawarra or in the blast furnaces used to live sort of around Port Kembla, so it does have a stigma to it. But look, Port Kembla is entirely pretty much a locked suburb. It is surrounded by pretty much Primby, Warrawong, and basically steelworks, and you've got nothing there's nothing more to build around there because it's all either parks or it's just land that's used for another purpose. So look, it occupies a very beautiful beach. For people that haven't been down there, Hill 60 is very, very popular as well. A lot of people meet up there. A really popular place for groups of people to meet, and you'll see the old barracks over there too. It's pretty cool. Not only that too, you've got obviously the Five Islands off there too, another really good thing to look out to. But Port Kembla is developing a lot. It's not what people used to think it is. Look, I mean, in 2007, 2008, you could have bought a house in Port Kembla for, like 350 grand. No kidding, 350 grand. But now it's about 900 to 950. But this is going to go up. And look, the demographics are improving in Port Kembla too. There is actually some pockets that are very expensive at Port Kembla, particularly towards Surfside Drive and Dover as well. So some of those houses sell for above $2 million as well, but the suburb you're still picking up for sub $1 million. So really good suburb and something to consider. This is just from the local Illawarra Mercury here. So, and it was also mentioned in Sydney Morning Herald too, but the suburb is gentrifying. And anyway, if you want to look up this article, you'll see it. So it's just called Property Suburb in the Spotlight Port Kembla, and it just says how it's developing. So you're getting these kind of cafes and restaurants that are really popular among locals and also outsiders that people going to, and they're actually doing quite well. So the suburb's improving in that sense. And there's a lot of knockdown rebuilds and should I say, renovations going on that are improving the sort of visuals of the suburb. But the more important thing is there's wealthier people moving in here as well. So definitely a suburb to consider, sub $1 million in the Wollongong region. Look, another one I'd like people to consider is a suburb called Mount St Thomas. And it's not one that many people will know, but Mount St Thomas is kind of just in from the main centre of Wollongong. So look, the biggest driving factor of Mount St Thomas really is its school zones. So it's very close to obviously a few of your really good public schools. So Mount St Thomas Public School is very well known as one of your kind of best public schools in, I'd say, Wollongong. Not only that too, it's just on the borderline of the Illawarra Grammar School. Look, Mangaton obviously is the home of it, but the reason I say Mount St Thomas I think is a little bit better to buy in is simply because Mount St Thomas is almost entirely detached homes, and it's very, very green, very quiet, tree-lined streets. Mangaton's a little bit more busy than it. You do have some of the main, like Crown Street does sort of run through and close to Mangaton, whereas Mount St Thomas is very quiet, and a lot of the families that send their kids to the Illawarra Grammar School actually happen to live in Mount St Thomas. So look, it is a good suburb to buy in that sense, and a lot of people who want to have a family or have families that want to move down here or lease out to a family sub $1 million, it's a good suburb to consider, definitely.